What's up? Let's just make sure we're live here. I think we are. Yep, good. What's up, everybody? Shout out that under, huh? How about that under? Yeah, Oklahoma goes for 2. Keeps it under 43.5. Need Vandy to punch this in right here. Second and goal, 7. 1 sec. Touchdown. Love bowl season. Let's go. All right, so yeah, I don't know where Chris or Rob Veno. We'll go through the games. I don't know if they're going to make it or not. It's a weird week in between Christmas and New Year's. We'll see. I'm down to go through some basketball games though. I have a couple that I'm considering betting, so maybe we'll just go through and see if you guys like it, and I'll throw it down right now if you guys. It's a really busy day for me with 3 NFL games and 8 bowl games on tomorrow, so it's a busy day for me. But anyway, first up is Knicks Magic. I almost bet the Knicks last night at 6.5. Obviously, wish I did. Be holding a point of value if I did that. Magic coming off a real tough game last night against the Heat, came down to the wire. They lost with like 3 seconds left. Tyler Hero hit a shot. Oh, someone's here. Is that Chris? Damn it, I can't see Chris. I got to leave and come back. But Chris is in there?
Yeah, Chris is in here.
I'll leave and come back. You're putting Chris on now?
Yeah,
let me just get
What's
Chris.
Up, Chris? I'm adding you to the stream, and Kyle's going to leave and come back.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, now I see Chris. Testing.
What up, guys?
Not much, man. Just enjoying that Vanderbilt touchdown. Hit my first college football bet. Second one in progress.
You was profitable last night too in the NBA, weren't you? Outside of the Bulls?
No, 1 and 2. I lost
the Bulls.
Bulls
okay.
I won 1 and 2. I lost the Pacers. I had 2 underdogs. Pacers plus 5.5. Bulls plus 6.5. That blew late for. Oh, Veno's here.
Mm-hmm. Veno is here.
Veno made it. All right, so we just started the first game, and we're talking about Knicks Magic. So yeah, Chris, I went 1 and 2 in the NBA last night. But yeah, I almost took the Knicks last night at 6.5, just a spot play because of the Magic, the game they're coming off against a rival, down to the wire, tough physical game. They lost on a Tyler Hero, some Tyler Hero shit, pun intended. So I think the very next day against a team like the Knicks that just are steamrolling everybody, I think the Knicks would win this comfortably. But I didn't bet it. Like I said, I almost took it at 6.5 last night. Don't want to make a habit of laying 6-7 points on the road against a team that almost never loses at home. I mean, I know they lost last night, but this team is now 12-3 at home. I mean, this is a very good team in Orlando. So I didn't actually pull the trigger on it, but I do think the Knicks win comfortably here. Veno?
Good afternoon, guys.
How you doing,
man?
What's
up, Veno? Good to see you.
How are you guys today?
Yeah, things are great, man. I won the first bowl game, got Vanderbilt plus 3, and they just went up 7-0. Life is beautiful, Veno.
Doesn't get you. Stop the clock right now, Kyle.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah, let's get paid.
So Veno, anything on this Knicks game?
Yeah, I took a look at Knicks team total. They didn't exactly play as good offensively on Christmas Day as you would have thought, but they still did find their way to 114, 117 on that day. So it's just a team right now, Kyle, that's got multiple ways to score, and Orlando's on this back-to-back. And, they're so decimated personnel-wise, you wonder how that depth holds up against a team that's going to pressure them offensively. So I took a look, but I didn't play. That's about as far as I got. I think the number when I looked was maybe 110. I don't know what it currently is now, but at 110, I thought it might be worth a look.
If the total's still 213.5, it should be around there still.
It is 110. It's
110. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I think the Knicks can score in Orlando too. It's just the what kept me off was like, wait, am I really about to take an offense on the road in Orlando? Everyone has offensive problems on the road there, so I stayed off as well. Chris?
I actually think the Knicks are the right side, but I didn't bet it either, Kyle. Like you said, So this will be the third matchup, right? First time these two teams played was in the Garden. Knicks were laying 3.5 points. We were both on the Knicks in that game, Kyle. I remember that. I don't know if you remember or not. They beat the brakes off the Orlando Magic that game. That was with Franz and with no Paolo, cup game. And then the second one happened about 2 weeks ago. Game was played in the Garden. Game was played in Orlando. And Orlando was getting 4.5 points in that spot. The Knicks won that one by 9. So 15-point win at MSG, and then a 9-point win in Orlando. You got Orlando team, second leg of a back-to-back, extremely shorthanded. Like, when is it going to be enough to where the straw breaks the camel back? I kind of feel like this is it. Knicks should win this game. I'm thinking by double digits today. Did I lay it? No. Do I think that the under is the right play? Absolutely. The Orlando scored 91 points the first two times that these two teams played. I don't see any kind of advantage outside of, honestly, any kind of advantage. Jalen Suggs could potentially get locked up. I think the under is actually the best play because, to Rob Veno's point and your point, Kyle, while the Knicks should be able to score, even if the Magic are playing good defense, do the Magic score? I don't think so. So I think under 213. The first matchup only had 191 points. Well, the second matchup that these two teams just played had 191 points. Last night, the Orlando Magic game against the Miami Heat, another slow-paced offense, had 177 points. So I think under 213 is the right side here, but I still didn't get there with the total either.
Under 213, okay. Let's move on to the next one. And look, I know you got the Celtics coming off a Christmas Day loss. You got the Pacers coming off a back-to-back where they just blew a lead late, no days off, traveling to Boston. I get all of it, but I still stand on my podium here that I don't think this Pacers team is the best matchup for Boston. They put a ton of pressure on the perimeter. They force shooters inside to take contested 2-point shots. Not saying the Celtics can't score in that fashion. Of course they can. They're loaded with talent, but that's not what they want to do. They want to launch threes. Indiana's just a tough matchup for Boston, and I'm not laying. I mean, I know when I looked last night, it was 10. Now I'm seeing 11.5, 12. I mean, clearly steam's coming in on the Boston side, and I completely get it. Just spot-wise, Indiana, the game they played last night against a rested Celtics team who just lost in front of their home fans on Christmas Day. The people of Boston, like, Christmas was ruined over there by Joel Embiid, of all people. So, yeah, like, I completely get. I feel like if you want to spot handicap it, you're like, Celtics come in pissed off and beat the brakes off of Indiana. But I still can't get over the fact of how well this Indiana Pacers team playing. And like I said, I don't think the Pacers are the best matchup for Boston. So if you guys co-sign it, I'm down to take a plus 12. This isn't. I have two bets that are towards the end that I'm down to place right now. This isn't one of them. This one I kind of have when we get to the Cavs-Nuggets game. And, there's actually 3 later that I think I'm ready to place right now. This one isn't really one. But if you guys co-sign a Pacers plus 12, I'll do it. I can look at Veno's face. He's not co-signing it.
You want me to be the first to co-sign? Here's what I will say, Kyle. In favor of the Indiana Pacers. I've made an awful lot of money lately, and I banged my head against a brick wall early this season playing Pacer team total over, and the offense just wasn't there. And, I mean, I'm hard-headed that way because I like bounce backs and all that other stuff, and it just wasn't happening. But now they're paying me back for everything I lost early because now they're scoring. Rick Carlisle, to his credit, said that he was actually happy that this team went out early in the Emirates Cup because it allowed them more practice time. So they got 5 days worth of practice. It led to them putting more energy into their full court defense, which breeds offense for them. And you see the results, right? They're 109 plus in 8 straight games. And tonight, when I look at their team total, at this point, you can find 108.5 available to you. And to ask the Pacers to score less than 110 at this point in time, I'm not willing to do it. So while I didn't take 12, Kyle, I think that they're going to score. If Boston wins this game, it'll be high scoring. It'll be Boston offense over Indiana defense. Boston will make their 23s or whatever it is when they shoot well at home, especially on a Friday night in front of the home crowd. But I don't know, to your point, that they can defend. And Indiana's off back-to-backs after playing OKC last night. And OKC will wear your legs out. That was a close game all the way. I think OKC broke free maybe with like 4 minutes left. It was tied for quite a while. Then Oklahoma City kind of broke loose. But I still think Indiana is as healthy as they've been. I don't know the status of Miles Turner on these back-to-backs. He wound up going last night. Maybe he doesn't go here. But I don't know that he matters that much as far as point scoring is concerned. So I would look, if I had to recommend one, I would look to Indiana. Most common number out there is team total over 109, but you can find that 108.5. So shop your best. I think that's a good way to go.
I might be interested in some of that. Chris, are you co-signing?
Yeah, I would. Do we know the status, fellas, of Drew Holiday and Porzingis? I know both of those guys were listed as questionable. No update, right?
Okay. Yeah, questionable as far as I'm seeing.
Okay, so I know Porzingis left the game, the Christmas Day game. I'm on the mindset, Veno, I'm interested in your thoughts, and Kyle, yours as well, of like the Celtics, to me, know the grand scheme of things. They know that a win on December 27th is not that important to what they want to do long term. To me, that makes me think that Porzingis, I actually thought that he would sit and wouldn't even be listed as questionable. I thought he would pop up as out or either doubtful, but questionable, is a little bit closer to playing, even though I think he could be downgraded. We'll see what happens. Drew Holiday, of course, means a ton to that defense, especially slowing down a guy like Tyrese Halliburton that we know the Pacers on the first leg of a back-to-back they want to run, definitely want to run against the Boston Celtics on the second leg of a back-to-back. But I'm kind of with you, Kyle. Like I think the number is a tad bit too big. I saw it, what it was last night when it opened at a 10 or a 10.5, whatever it was, and being pushed to 12. I wasn't going to take it then. I think it's only, Pacers, even on the second leg of a back-to-back. I'm not interested in laying double digits with Boston right now, especially without knowing the status of Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. This is a team that clearly is just coasting right now. Do they want to win? Yes. Have they been losing? Yes. First time all season they've lost back-to-back games. They've actually lost 3 of their last 4 because they lost to the Chicago Bulls as well in their last 4 games. But they're only 3-7 against the number in their last 10 games. They have won 7 of the last 10 because you got playoff revenge here. The Pacers already took them to the brink, actually beat them earlier this season, 135-132 at 6.5-point home dogs in overtime earlier this season. So, even with all that said, the Pacers have covered 7 of the last 10 spreads. I think they're 3-1 against the number in the last 4. And that goes to what you're saying, Kyle. They're actually getting back, even without Obi, because Obi did roll his ankle last night. He's already been rolled out today, but they're getting back to, what they want to do, which is play pretty fast. Defensively, they've been really, really sound. And getting 12 points against the mighty Boston Celtics is a tad bit too many in my opinion, Kyle. So I'd be with you. Either team total over, like you said, Veno, or I'll probably just take the points. Maybe a 12.5 pops up.
There is a 12.5 right now. BetMGM is 12.5.
Yeah, I like the 12.5, Kyle. I'm gonna put that on my short list.
Let's freaking do it.
Yeah, hold on, Cal. Hold on. I'm not rushing because whenever we make these bets together online, they go bad. I want to see what happens with Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, and we can text about it later. I'm not, because we might get a 13.5 if both of those guys are in. So I'm not playing it yet, but it's something I'm monitoring.
Man, I'm riding the high from that afternoon Navy under, man. I'm trying to pull the trigger. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, Andrew Nembhard's just a man. I wanted the Knicks to draft him so bad. I couldn't believe it. I thought the Knicks could get him late in the first round. He went early second round to the Pacers. It was nice. Gonzaga, one of Toast guys. What's next? Spurs, Nets. I was trolling Big Al on Twitter saying I'm taking the Nets, but I'm not actually doing it. He's just a diehard Spurs. Some people may have saw him. I was just trolling him. He's a Spurs fan. I'm not actually taking the Nets here. I have no interest in betting this game at all. I'm down to skip to the next one. You guys want to share any thoughts on it?
The only thing I would say, Kyle, the only look I would have, and it's, first 3 right out of the box here, I am rattling off team totals, 3 straight games, but Brooklyn under. The way San Antonio's playing defense right now, and Mitch Johnson alluded to it, their interim head coach, a couple of days ago, where he said that they have a defensive fingerprint, so to speak, and they're trying to stick to it. And this projected starting lineup for the Spurs has only played 4 games together all season long. This will be their 5th, and they're 4-0 against the spread. So they've been real good when they're whole. They're trying to preach defense to this young team. They didn't get it last year. They seem to be responding a little bit this year. I think it's a tribute to the Knicks and how efficient they are offensively, that they scored as much as they did against San Antonio the other day. But Brooklyn's the exact opposite of efficient. And I think they're the second slowest pace in the NBA right now. So they don't do hardly anything well. They traded their pace away when they traded Schroeder out of there. So I would think that Brooklyn under their team total would be, and again, if you have to play, if you've got, $10 banging around in your pocket and you just have to play, you probably play Brooklyn under.
Chris?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of credence to what Veno just said. I talked about this yesterday, Cal, about how since I think it's been 5 games without shooters so far, and we know there's no Cam Thomas. Ben Simmons also was ruled out, right? I know he was listed as questionable.
He is out.
Could have potentially been the first game he's playing on the back-to-back, but he's not playing. I think what we see here is probably a bunch of turnovers without a primary point guard. The Brooklyn Nets only want to score the ball from the 3-point line, so it'll be a ton of 3-point variance in this game. This is one of those games where if they're hitting early, which I don't expect them to, but San Antonio can give it up from the 3-point line if at all. They do a great job protecting the rim, of course, with Victor Wembanyama down there. But if the Brooklyn Nets get out to, score 30 points in the first quarter, maybe a lot better on their team total under. If they do go over and you don't want to take the, the pre-number, because this number is right now, 102.5. It looks like it's consensus. I think that they struggle to get there. Remember yesterday, Cal, I talked about, this Brooklyn Nets offense. Last 5 games really struggling to score the basketball. Miami, they scored 95. Utah Jazz, 94. Toronto, 101, and Cleveland, 101. So that not only is this a back-to-back, but it's a road home back-to-back. So you're traveling back in from Milwaukee. Not a super long flight, but San Antonio, no travel, right? Because they played the Knicks in MSG. So they just came up the street to get to Brooklyn. They were actually there before Brooklyn was. So I do think team total under, like Veno said, is probably the best play. I actually think the Spurs can win this game by double digits as well. So that would be my only look, I'll probably lay this 7.5, whatever the number is now. But I didn't get there. This opened at 6 last night. I got to the party a little late.
Yeah, fucking fumble bounced right out of his hands they got it back. All right, let's go to the next game. What's next? Timberwolves, Rockets. Okay, this is the first of the 3 that I have my finger on the trigger of. I don't give a shit about a back-to-back. One team is at home and is significantly better than the other team right now. Why are we not taking the Rockets? What am I missing here? Minnesota's a mess. I mean, Ski is sending me a new troll tweet about Julius Randle every 36 hours or so. Like, there's just drama going on with the team. Houston plays well at home. They play great defense. They also defend the 3-point line extremely well, which is where a lot of Minnesota's offensive success has come from. I don't see what I'm missing where Houston's catching a point at home here. Is it the back-to-back? They're 4-2 against the spread on back-to-back so far this year. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm just thinking like an idiot, but this is the one I'm considering. I'm considering just taking the Rockets money line here. I'm getting the better team at home. I don't care about the back-to-back. Am I crazy for thinking that?
Well, I'll start with this. I don't think you're crazy at all. My first look, Kyle, was to the under. Anytime I see Minnesota anymore, I'm just looking at the game total. And the only way that they can win games anymore is by playing defense for 48 minutes. It's been repeated over and over again. No Ski and I on his show. Very repetitive about Anthony Edwards and his closed-door meeting, and we have to play every possession of defense. And they did for a while. They had 6 straight games where they allowed under 100 points. Then it went south for a bit, and then came that revenge game with Dallas the other day. Granted, Luka got hurt, but they played defense, and they won that game. They're not going to win any game with 120 points anymore. Just don't have that kind of offense. There's something in the cohesiveness here with the additions of Randall and DiVincenzo that really hasn't worked for Minnesota. They can win a defensive game. Kyle, you mentioned it. Houston's a very good defensive team, too, so I don't know how difficult it will be for for Houston to shut Minnesota down here. 214 looked like a lot. If you just do the math in your head, odds makers telling you it should be a 108, 106 game. I don't even think it can climb that high, to tell you the truth. I think Minnesota will play fully focused defense. Again, I think they believe now it's the only way they can win. Ant's out there trying this. I think Ant's a frustrated player to begin with what's surrounding him right now. Rudy Gobert has been called out and called out and called out again. Continuously this year. They need something out of him. They're not going to get it. And Julius Randle is Julius Randle. So I think under 214 is the right way to go.
Yeah, that's cool too. I can get down with that with the under 214. Our graphic says 2. Yeah, no, it's 214.5, by the way. Probably around 212.5 on the graphic. So our graphic is 2 points off. That's our mistake. But Yeah, another thing I forgot to mention is Alexander Walker may not play, and I like him. I don't know if you guys watch a lot of Minnesota basketball, but he's a cool piece for them. So I mean, you take him out. I mean, the only offensive success Minnesota's had at all this year is when they get hot from outside, and they might be without one of their most efficient 3-point shooters. Granted, the volume isn't there. He only attempts like about 4 3-point shots a game, so we're not talking about a huge chunk, but. Not losing a piece like that off the bench, I mean, collapses the floor a little bit. So, yeah, if he's not in, I like it even more. Chris?
Yeah, you can't. I actually liked Minnesota in this spot, but because of that, Cal, I do feel like this Minnesota team is a team that can't be missing any pieces, like you said. Offensively, they really, really struggle to score the basketball. I do like the rest advantage here for them with the back-to-back. They were actually in the state of Texas since probably the day before Christmas.
Wait, hold on. You said Minnesota?
No. Yeah, Minnesota for me. Yeah, Minnesota. I said I didn't bet it.
Wait, start over, bro. Georgia Tech scored a touchdown and flustered right now. You're taking Minnesota?
No. So I said I like the rest advantage from Minnesota. Like you said, Houston is on the second leg of a back-to-back, not having to travel from far, but from New Orleans. But the Timberwolves were actually in Texas already because they played against Dallas. So while it is a third straight road game, they super short travel for them. It feels like the Timberwolves. So you got also, Cal, you also got the Timberwolves who they've been really, really good against Houston. They've won 8 of the last 10. They got the revenge spot here. Earlier this season, I remember being on your show giving out the under 220. The game went over because it went to overtime. Minnesota came all the way back. They eliminated them from the cup in that game, and this is what led to Houston actually being the winners of the cup in that game. I think Houston's going to struggle to score the basketball. I don't know if you looked at this one, Kyle, from a strength of schedule perspective. But
I saw that,
yeah, they literally played no one. First game back home off a 3-game road trip. Who did they beat? Toronto? Then they beat Charlotte? Then they beat New Orleans? I just kind of feel like when you beat Dallas in Dallas on Christmas Day, you could use a little bit of that momentum to go in here and win this game. I'm not sure of the status of Jabari Smith Jr. because he was listed as questionable. I know Tari Eason was also listed as out yesterday. Jabari Smith Jr. was listed as out yesterday. I think that's a big piece. Both of these teams, to me, it feels like they kind of need everything because both of them can kind of go on a drought scoring the basketball for 5-6 minutes at a time, in my opinion, which is why I do lean with Veno as well. This total was 215. It's down to 214.5 now. I agree with the money coming in on the under, and I think I'd be looking a little bit more towards the Timberwolves, but didn't bet it. Needing to kill Alexander Walker in there, definitely.
Yeah, I suppose I won't bet this one then. I think you're crazy going Minnesota, but I won't bet it. And by the way, you made the correct call, not pulling the trigger on the Pacers. Andrew Nembhard just ruled out while we were talking.
Oh, wow. Nembhard?
Yeah, ruled out.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, maybe we get it at 14.5. If you liked it at 12, you love it at 14.5.
I don't know, Cal. When you was talking about Nembhard earlier, I went in. I had looked at this yesterday. I want to say this season with Nembhard on the floor, nobody's really paying too much attention to this, but their defense is giving up 11 more points per 100 possessions with him off the floor.
Oh, God.
11. They're giving up 118 with him on. With
Can
him
we
off
just
the
grab
floor.
an over then?
Only 107 with him on the floor.
What if we grab a quick over, 230.5? Veno already liked the Indiana team total on over. You're saying the Pacers defense is worse without Nembhard. What if just a over?
A lot worse.
Well,
yeah. I think
the counter to that, guys, real quick, the counter to that is, again, this comes from the head coach, is that Andrew Nembhard is the piece that makes Tyrese Halliburton. Without him on the floor, and if we go back and check these game logs, when he was out for a while, that Indiana offense was miserable, and Tyrese Halliburton wasn't playing well. And Carlisle commented on it at the time, and he said, it's more basketball IQ than it is statistical. His point was made that when Nembhard is on, he just knows where to go. He knows how Halliburton plays. He knows what to do, where to be. And they don't have that. TJ McConnell's nice when the reserve unit comes in. But side by side, without Nembhard, I don't even know if I like team total anymore if he's not going to play in the starting lineup, to tell you the truth.
All right, let's move on to Memphis. I'm just gonna stay off that one, honestly.
I'm gonna stay off of it too, especially because we still know Porzingis and Drew Holiday too. Like,
because while Veno was talking, what he was saying, I was like, in my head, I was like, shit, maybe I'll go bet Boston. And then I'm like, no, I'm not jumping around. No, I'm not jumping around between 15 different bets here. I'm just gonna pass. Memphis, New Orleans. I almost bet Memphis minus the 10.5 last night. It would have won. It would have won. That being said, I also almost bet Pelicans plus 7.5, and it would have lost. So these are two teams I was considering betting last night. I don't really care or have much interest in betting this one. The two I'm interested in are actually the two that are up right after this one. So if you guys have anything to say on this game here, Memphis, New Orleans, take the mic.
Well, I'll say this. The foolishness of me to be scared off by a total of 240 in a Memphis game last night when it racks up 281, I think was the final 280. Do you know there were 217 field goal attempts in that game, guys? 109 by Memphis, 108 by Toronto, 88 threes. The pace that Memphis is playing at is insane. It's a little better at home, I know, but they're taking a shot less than every 13 seconds. And they're shooting it well. They seem to have everything clicking. I just wonder, they don't seem like a team that would be affected by back-to-backs now that their, rotation is about 8 or 9 deep. It wasn't early to start the season, so it's hard to take these back-to-back numbers seriously. But starting now, I would say, boy, oh boy, they've got the opportunity to run New Orleans out of the gym. But that being said, they don't play enough defense for me, and I'll just channel my inner ski prophet and say, I can't trust anybody who can't get stops. And Memphis doesn't necessarily get stops, although they didn't need them last night. They win by 30 and give up 126. So I'd probably leave it alone. But any Memphis total, somebody comes up to me and wants to play, I'm not going to argue them off because that team is just crazy fast and crazy good shooting the basketball right now.
That's funny you said that, the first thing you said, because last night, one of the bets I was considering was Memphis team total over 125.5. And I was like, what am I doing? I can't bet a team total over 125.5. They put up 170. They scored went over by 30 points. So, I was like, Memphis can probably name their number and score 130 points of this team easily, but I didn't bet it. That would have been a sweat-free one. But, Chris, anything on this one before we move on? That's a first down.
Just going back to that team total, Kyle, Memphis starts early. Like if they have a blunder at all, it's typically in the third quarter, which yesterday they didn't let up at all. But first quarter scoring, I think this is the best first quarter scoring team in the NBA. 30.5 was plus 102 in the first quarter. Just needing them to get to 31 points. They're averaging 35 points on the second leg of a back-to-back. 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread on the second leg of back-to-backs. And this Pelican team is god-awful, Kyle. We both should have made some money and just laid it yesterday. That was Houston. Houston can struggle to score the basketball. No worries at all last night with them struggling to score the basketball. And I just kind of feel like the Pelicans, just kind of gave up on the season, which that makes a lot of sense as well. The Pelicans are what, like something like 5, and I think they got a worse record than the Wizards right now for the worst record in the NBA.
They're 5-25.
5-25. This is right in that whole little cream of the crop with the Wizards for sure. So I would lay the number if I had to. 8.5 feels like a big number on the road, but what resistance do they have? Who's gonna stop Zach Edey from going and doing whatever he wants to on the glass? Who's gonna stop Ja Morant in this offense from getting out and pushing the ball in transition? The Pelicans, one of the worst defenses in the NBA. I also think first half, because that's what the Pelicans typically do. I know that they haven't been covering a lot on the road specifically. They've only been a road favorite in the last 10 games, it looked like 3 times, and they're 2-1 against the number. But the Pelicans are god-awful at everything right now. I can't name one thing that they're doing good except rebounding the basketball. And with Zach Edey being back, Jared Jackson Jr. being down there, I think they can neutralize them there as well. So first half would be my top look here, but I didn't bet it.
First half. AJ, can you go back to that real quick? Can you take a note to text Andy? The Memphis ATS is the dark blue. You need to switch to I can't see their ATS on so it's Memphis template needs to be changed to the light blue. I'm going to forget that. So anyway, go to the next one. Cleveland, Denver. All right. Let's get down on the Nuggets. Are you guys with me? Money line. I don't want points. Right? Come on. All aboard. I was expecting you guys to be like, yeah. Are you with me?
Nope.
They're like,
It's like that guy in Animal House trying to get them all to join in and run behind him.
who's with me? But yeah, I think the Nuggets are going to win this game. All right, first of all, Cleveland's played the easiest schedule in the NBA. Can we acknowledge that they're 30th in strength of schedule? I'm not saying the team isn't good. I'm not trying to take away what they've done this year, but I mean, in my opinion, I'm not convinced that Cleveland isn't still the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. They played the easiest schedule in the NBA, and I think that shit will even out. I think you're going to see the Celtics and maybe the Knicks even up towards the top of the Eastern Conference, and then Cleveland's going to be where they should be, the 3 seed, the 4 seed, the 5 seed, because that's who they are. So that's going to even out eventually as it is. Like I said, they are literally 30th in strength of schedule. So they've played the easiest schedule in the NBA. On the road in Denver. Now, Cleveland runs a lot of pick and rolls. They're second in pick and roll frequency. Denver, 7th in defensive efficiency against the pick and roll. 6th in points per game allowed against the pick and roll. You'll love to see it. Denver's been getting out in transition, and Cleveland's transition defense actually a little bit down this year, just 12th. Last year, they were top 5. It's a little bit down in that department. Now, where I'm a little worried for the Nuggets is they score a lot on the interior, and that plays into the strength of the Cavs defense for sure. So I'm not saying this is going to be easy pickings for the Nuggets. I just think Denver at home is able to give Cleveland problems. I think right now, this game, right? We're getting Denver at home +3. I think this is going to be the type of game where if we look back at this game in 2 months, we're going to be like, the Nuggets were catching 3 at home from the Cavs. What the hell was going on in the NBA? I think it's one of those, like, the line is just off based on what these teams are going to be this year and based on the fact that Cleveland's played such an easy schedule to start the year. So I actually like the Nuggets money line. I haven't bet it yet, but I'm down to place it right now. I'm looking for a cosign. Chris gave me the no. Veno, give me a cosign.
Well, only because I approached it from a totally different angle, Kyle. I came at it from a totals perspective. It took me a while to wrap my head around the polar turnaround in the Denver Nuggets. This is the 4th fastest tempo team in the NBA. How many years in a row were they 30th? 29, 30,
They were the slowest
30.
team ever.
And all of a sudden, Michael Malone, I guess you get Russell Westbrook on your team and you could move up 26 notches or 28 notches in pace, but they do. They're up and down the floor. These two teams are 4th and 5th in average seconds per shot. They're 2 of the fastest teams in the NBA. They're both very efficient offensively. This Denver team just scores. And what I like most about it is the fact that, and maybe to parlay up with you, Denver just didn't shoot it well against Phoenix on Christmas night, 110-100. It seemed like a gimme at the time. Denver -2.5. Phoenix without Booker had looked miserable the game before. But they get held to 100. Now they're back home against a Cleveland team that doesn't care to play much defense at times either. Kyle, you talked about the easiest schedule. I think that's a reason why their defensive stats are so skewed in their favor. When faced with offensive opponents, they tend to give it up a little bit. I think the game gets up and down. I think Denver over 117 team total. I can get with you there, no question. And I think full game total, because I don't know. Denver's just not stopping anybody either. They are just a different team in the same uniform. They don't play defense and they run. It's crazy, but that's the way it is right now. So I would try. I definitely think Denver at home team total over 117, and I would definitely think full game total is a good look too.
I love it, Vito. I'm in agreement. I do think Denver's defense isn't quite that bad, but I agree with basically every single thing you said there. Chris, go ahead. We know you're about to come in. Oh, Cavs, they're like 30-5 this year, or whatever the hell you're about to
say. Absolutely not, Kyle. I will say this. I remember we did the game earlier this year when Denver was traveling to Cleveland, and we both won Cleveland in that game. I don't know if you remember having Cleveland. I think they were laying 3.5, and it's for a lot of the same reasons. This Denver team is shooting where a lot of their points inside the paint. Not a great 3-point shooting team. Now they're down a guy. No Aaron Gordon. They just been wildly inconsistent, man. Like, it's hard for me. And I know that they've only been a home dog once. That was against OKC. They won that game outright. So it's rare that you will catch Denver as a home dog. They probably will get up for this game. But I'm seeing visible frustration from Nikola Jokic. It feels like this team is on the verge of making some kind of move. I heard Michael Porter Jr. name in a bunch of trades. And that's not even part of the handicap. But And to your point, Cal, the other thing that also is give me slight hesitation, but I already bet this one. Gave me slight hesitation is that when these two teams match up, the home team wins. I think the last 5 matchups, the home team has won, and that's when.
So
Cleveland,
you're with me?
No, I'm not. I'm still on Cleveland
It sounds like you want. Oh my God, bro!
I'm just you made points for Cleveland, and now I'm making points. Now I'm making points for Denver. We're on the opposite side because we look at it from both ways. But Cleveland, red hot right now, 9-1 straight up, 7-3. They've taken all of these games a lot more professionally, in my opinion. They don't lay down. They don't roll over. I wanted to see while you were talking, Kyle. You said that their strength of schedule has been pretty poorly. So I just looked at them really quickly in the database when they played against teams that had a
fair. That's fair.
My AirPod went out. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I looked at them specifically as when they played against teams that have a 55% win percentage at the time of play, right? The Lakers were game 1. We can throw that out. That was October 30th. But then they had the Magic on November 1st. Beat the Magic, won and covered. Beat the Warriors, won and covered. Beat the Celtics. Lost to the Celtics, but covered. Beat the Celtics in the next one. Beat the Nuggets in this spot, and beat the Bucks. Kyle, this team is 6-1, 7-0 against the numbers so far when they're playing against a team that has a 55% win percentage. I think rest advantage, 3 days of rest compared to they didn't get a Christmas Day game. Rest advantage here, 3 days compared to 1. I think that they got enough. This is a first of a little West Coast road trip. I think if you want to fade Cleveland, you do it the longer they go on this road trip. They got games coming up against the Warriors. They got the Lakers. They got Dallas, all to come on this Western Conference road trip. Denver actually got a first leg of a back-to-back. Granted, they probably won't care that much because it's Detroit, but they got the first leg of a back-to-back here. And I think without Aaron Gordon, they struggle a lot. Peyton Watson is no Aaron Gordon, in my opinion. Jamal Murray looks like a shell of himself. I'll take Cleveland. I think they're a better team right now. I took them on the money line here. So you can get a +3, Cal, and we both can win. But I took money line last night at -130.
Chris, when's the last time Denver lost a game at home? Over a month ago. The Nuggets at home are back, man. Nuggets are winning this game. I'm betting this. Nuggets money line. Next. The catch to that was they've only played 3 games at home in the last month, but they've won them all. Next up, Dallas, Phoenix. Oh, this is another one that I'm considering betting. I'm going to bet the Denver money line. I think I'm going to take Dallas money line too. What are we doing here? I know Luke.
Something we can agree on.
Yeah, you're with me there? All right, cool.
I like it.
Yeah, kind of the same thing I was saying. Well, actually, not the same thing I was saying. I think Dallas is the much better team, and yes, there's no Luka Doncic, but there's also no Devin Booker. And I think the supporting cast here. Now, obviously, I want Derek Lively out there. He's listed as questionable, right? That's a huge question mark. But if he plays, I think I'm getting a point and a half with the better team. The Suns play no defense. In the last 10 games, they're 28. Check this out. In the last 10 games, the Suns are 28th in defensive efficiency against the 25th strength of schedule. The Suns are struggling to make stops against bad teams. The Dallas Mavericks are second in offensive efficiency in the last 10 games. This is one of the best offenses in the NBA. Yes, they're not quite as potent without Luka Doncic. This team can still score points without him. So this team just can't make stops. So Dallas is going to score here. Do you trust the Suns without Booker to keep up? And I think the answer to that is no. Now, weirdly, Dallas has been running a really slow pace. I don't know if it's because of Luka Doncic. Well, how many games did Luka miss in there? Because he was out, then he came back, right? How many games?
He came back. I think he played 2 or 3, right, Cal?
Like he probably played, what, 3 of the last 5 games?
He played the Portland game. He played in the Portland game, and then after they played Portland, they beat somebody, and then they lost to the Timberwolves. Who did they beat? They beat
they beat Portland. And then they beat Clippers. So they had 2 games in a row against the Clippers, right?
He didn't play the first game against the Clippers. He played he didn't play in either one, right? I think only Kyrie played in the second one.
He played in the second one. No. Yes, you're right. Okay. Anyway,
he played the Christmas Day game.
The reason I'm not taking it over is we're seeing a little bit slower pace from Dallas, and Phoenix isn't playing a particularly fast pace either. But I do think both teams can score. I just like Dallas offense without Luka more than I like Phoenix offense without Booker. So I like Dallas here, but with Derek Lively Jr. Sitting on questionable, this is one that I have in the holster per se. So I would like to bet Dallas. Sounds like, Chris, you're with me on this?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Cal. Like you said, I need Lively out there. Their defense is astronomically different with him on the floor and off the floor, like you mentioned. You also got a double revenge spot here. Dallas is lost as a favorite. I want to say they were favorites I know they were a favorite at home, but Phoenix has already beaten this team twice. I'm not interested in Phoenix without Devin Booker. I kind of feel like we saw what this team really is without Devin Booker. I'm of the mindset that, I think they were like 14-1, 15-1 with Kevin Durant in. And then they lost all of those games without him. I think they were like 1-7. I'm of the mindset that they need everybody. Like they need Tyus Jones, they need Devin Booker, they need Bradley Beal, who continues to be in and out. Without Devin Booker, it looks like they're a plus 1.2. But to your point, Kyle, without Luka, this Dallas Mavericks team is still a plus 2.2 in point differential without him on the floor, 114 to 112. So defensively, I think they're 6-2 straight up in those games without Luka as well. We've seen this Dallas team go into OKC and get a win, and OKC was healthy in that spot. They beat them outright without Luka this season. So I think Dallas is a little bit better team. You mentioned the defense for the Phoenix Suns here, Cal. The thing that they're doing the worst is defending the three-point line, and that's what Dallas loves to do. So that, the one really big disadvantage. And I think you got two teams that going flip-flop, in my opinion. The Phoenix Suns just won on Christmas Day as a dog, and the Dallas Mavericks just lost as a favorite. So Dallas got a bad taste in their mouth coming off the Christmas Day game. Double revenge spot here as well. I just need Lively in, and I'll pull the trigger.
I'm with it. Veno, what about you?
Well, I'll say this. I love these games where the total gets penalized because a star player isn't playing, right? Luka's not playing, so this game immediately goes from 228 down to 224.5. But what's better is the team total gets penalized as well. I'm just going to expand on what you guys were saying. Dallas, overall, they're the 12th fastest tempo in the league. When Luka's not involved, they're way faster than they are with Luka involved. Really? There's no questions. You can expect them to get up and down tonight. And I don't know, Budenholzer's trying at Phoenix. I think he believes, here's his belief. My defense stinks. If I play real slow offensively, I can keep my, like football team trying to keep their defense off the field, right? That's what he's trying to do. But unfortunately, Kevin Durant's going to shoot when Kevin Durant's going to shoot. And the only reason why they didn't give up a bunch of points the other night is because Denver really didn't shoot it well. I think Dallas will shoot it well. Their team total, guys, is 111.5. Kyle, you just said that Phoenix is the 28th rated defensive team over whatever the span of games is that you listed there. Dallas should be able to score freely. Now, if Derek Lively doesn't play, that would help Phoenix's scoring as well, and that would more help a full game total. Because Dallas's rim protection when it's limited to Gafford only, as a guy who plays 24 minutes or whatever, and the other 24, they just don't have any rim protection. So I would trust Dallas to get over their team total here at 111.5. Again, they did lose the other day to Minnesota. And this is going to seem like when they take the floor, this is going to seem like some step down in class. You just faced Minnesota's defense, and Minnesota was playing with revenge, and that's all they have as an asset is defense. And now you're going to step in and play this team whose liability is defense. I just think over 111.5 from a Dallas team total perspective is a nice play.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to tell that. I'm going to take that. What he said basically was, if we go the team total route, we don't have to wait for the Derek Lively news. We like Dallas to score regardless, but not having Lively out there hurts them on the defensive side of the ball. So if we bet the team total, we don't have to wait for the Lively news because we like them to get up and over this total regardless. So I'm in. I'm writing this down. I'm going to bet this too. Dallas team total over. All right, cool. What's next? One more game, right?
4:43 Eastern time on a Friday afternoon. I made a contribution to Kyle's show that got him to put me on his short list. I love that.
Hey, Veno, you got to take it in stride. It don't happen often. Every day.
I promise, if you had seen some of the bets I've placed on this show, it's not very honorable. I've placed some real bad ones. All right. Golden State Clippers. Clippers laying 4.5 points at home. I don't think I ever even got to this one last night. I don't remember looking at it, so I must have went to sleep before I got to this last game, to be honest. So what do you guys think here? I'm all ears.
Go ahead, Veno.
Well, my initial play was to look at Clippers, but this line has jumped from 1 to 5.5. And, again, I hate being frightened by line moves. I just told you I was frightened by Memphis having a full game total of 240. I shouldn't have been. some of these line moves. In the NBA, though, especially, guys, it's because everybody chases injuries. And I've never seen a league where money and from supposedly sharp people just comes flying in without any thought off of injury news that in some cases may not even be out. Could be doubtful, could be questionable. Oh, we got to go run and play or fade that side. I don't like what I see out of Golden State right now. I got lucky. I won't say I got lucky because I thought it was a good bet, but I had Steph, and I don't play player props often at all. But I played Steph's player prop over 24.5 points on Christmas night, and he went off. He had a poor game the night before, 2 nights before. It was 2 for 13 from the field. Came back and shot it really well. But when I watch them now, boy, that offense, it doesn't look right. It just does not look right. I don't know where they turn for points. And I think as I watched the other night, it looked to me like Curry just decided, this is a close game. I got to start shooting the basketball. I can't be nice anymore and try and get everybody involved. When push comes to shove, he's got to score. So I think the Clippers defense is probably good enough to clamp Golden State down. And maybe I shouldn't be afraid of 5.5, guys. Maybe I should go ahead and lay 5.5. I think the only problem I have with the Clippers minus a sizable amount of points is their slowish nature and their tendency to have some dry spells themselves offensively. You know, that scares me. But if I had to look, I'd probably look their way.
That last sentence you just said, by the way, touchdown Vanderbilt, let's go. But that last sentence you just said, your hesitancy to lay the point. You could put Clippers up for me because, based on the way these two teams have looked the last 5 games, no Steph Curry, probably no Draymond. This number's a little short for the Clippers at home. Someone else put in the thing that the Warriors are just 2-8 in their last 10 trips out to play the Clippers too. So, I mean, based on the way these two teams have been playing lately, at a short number like 5, it has to be the Clippers. The 2 things you just said have me hesitant to pull the trigger. The third thing is, Chris, what else has me hesitant here? This Warriors team without Steph, man. What game was that? Where we faded the Warriors without Steph back-to-back.
Oh, was it against the Pelicans?
The Pelicans. Dude, this Warriors team without Steph, they play tenacious defense. They get to every loose ball. I don't know what it is. I faded this Warriors team without Steph in back-to-back nights, I think, or it was 2 times in a row. And both times I was like, this team might be better without Steph Curry. Obviously, that's not true. I'm just saying, like, this team, they were playing with such heart. And it was like they're getting to every loose ball. They're protecting the ball. They're forcing turnovers. They looked great without Steph Curry. So that has me hesitant too. Maybe a little bit of PTSD from those back-to-back games where I got beat by the Warriors without Steph. That kid Pods, man. It's just a hustler. So I would lean Clippers, but I'm not trying to fade this Stephless Warriors team that just always beats me.
I think, Kyle, to your point, I think that version of the Warriors are like at home, in my opinion. They feel a little bit broken. First leg of a back-to-back. They got the Suns tomorrow, national TV game. They really just can't score the basketball. Like, really, really difficult for them to pull the trigger. To your point, Kyle, like putting some numbers to that defensive tenacity and intensity that we see without Steph. Offensively, with Steph on the floor, scoring 120.89 points per 100 possessions, giving up 114. So they're plus 5.6. Well, plus 5.9, almost a plus 6. With Steph off the floor, a -3. Offensive rating drops from 120 to 103.
Oh, my God.
Defense drops from 114.7 with Steph on the floor to 107. So
the defense is significantly better.
Yeah, 210 points are what's being scored. I woke up when Steph got rolled out, I immediately looked towards the under. I got in my notes 217.5. I saw it go down to 214.5, and I said, well, it probably won't move too much more. When I did my show this morning, it was 211. I was like, that's a little too low for me to take it. But to what Veno said, kind of tying it all in, what you're saying, Kyle, is if we trust the Clippers, if we trust them defensively, we know that the Warriors are playing a super slow pace. Not sure why they're not running. Why don't we just look towards the Warriors team total? It's 103.5 right now. Draymond Green is now also listed as doubtful without, 2 primary ball handlers against a Clippers team that, you said it, Kyle, kind of owns them right now. They've won both head-to-head meetings. I think they've beaten them 5 straight times, 7 of the last 10 games. I think it's probably just the Warriors team total under. Especially if the game gets out of reach with them having another game tomorrow on national TV against the Phoenix Suns. I can see them, Steve Kerr. This is more like a scheduled loss without Steph Curry anyway. You're not expected to beat the Clippers in, the Intuit Dome. So team total under 103.5 could be potentially something I get to here.
Switch my logo. Switch me over to Warriors, man. I want Golden State. Someone said in the comments, and they're 4-1 without Steph this year. Their only loss was a 101-105 loss to Oklahoma City. I'm telling you, this team's magic without Steph. I'm betting this. I knew. See, my fears were true. This team without Steph is just magical, and they're like I said, 4-1, and the only loss is a 4-point loss to one of the best teams in the NBA. I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm taking.
Hey, Chris, real quick, Chris. The last 16 games the Clippers have played, they've held 11 teams under 103. Now I'll make that even stronger. Their last game, they went to Memphis and held the Grizzlies to 110. You can't hold the Grizzlies to 110. Their defense has been insanely good. And if Golden State's going to lack all that firepower, I could honestly understand playing their team total under. And I think that last point you made about maybe them throwing in the towel if it's a blowout situation, that factors in. I don't know that that'll happen, but the Clippers defense has been real good. It's a combination of slow pace and good defense, but they've got a lot of length that I don't know the Warriors can score over. So maybe.
Hey, look at me getting Veno on his short. I might got Veno to write down something on his short list. A milestone for me today.
I'm just telling you guys. I'm trying to give you a warning here from someone that's been through it. If you fade the Stephless Warriors team, just be prepared. There's something.
No way I would fade him, Kyle. There's no way I'm laying 5.5 here. I'm not laying the 5.5 because I saw this open at 1. So I don't want the ass end of the line, like Ski and Rob always say. I definitely do not want that. So I wouldn't, 4.5 points. I'm done with that. But I do think that as the total goes under, continues to, drop. Like, where do I want to be involved? Do the Clippers score a bunch of points? Do the Warriors struggle to score? I think the Warriors do struggle to score. Last point I'll make, Al. I haven't been running a lot of systems recently, but this is one that is extremely rare. Home favorites with the rest advantage, both before and after the game, are pretty profitable. 103 and 35 straight up, which is about 75%. 73 and 64 against the number going back to the 2021 season, about 54%. Says that the Clippers do win the game and cover the number because they don't have a game off. And we got to also remember, Clippers didn't get a Christmas Day game. So 3 days of rest, Warriors 1 day of rest. So, and they play tomorrow. So this is scheduled more like a scheduled loss for him here.
I have another trend for you. 100% hit rate. The Warriors ATS this year without Steph. All right, let's do a community parlay.
Those games, Kyle. Did they score big in those games?
I got them right here. You can go to
their defense. Right?
They scored 124 against the Pelicans once, 127 on the Rockets, then 1. They went into Houston and beat the Rockets 127-121 without Steph.
Oh, I remember that.
This team's magical. This team is magical.
That one went to overtime, though. I do remember that.
Guys, it's very clear that Golden State should trade Steph and rock with this team. All right, let's do a quick community parlay while I'm setting it up. Mr. Veno, want to tell everyone where they can find your stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find all my work over at wagertalk.com. For those watching Kyle's show here and those that'll watch it later, if you're not already a member, just go and drop your email address. Email address will get you instant free access to all the video content they provide over there. There's a team full of like 30 handicappers or so, all the written content. If you're interested in selection packages, busy time of year for those of us who cover multiple sports. So they come fast and furious, but you can find all my work over there at wagertalk.com.
Cool. And his Twitter is right below his face too. If you want to give him a follow over there, it has his stuff like right in the bio where you can find everything he just said. All right, so we got Spurs money line, Grizzlies money line. First poll is up. Chris, I'm sure everyone here pretty much already knows where to find your stuff, but in case they don't.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Kyle. Appreciate you having me on. It's good to do a show with Veno. Haven't done one of those in quite a while. Good to see you, Veno. Best of luck tonight. All my work can be found over on YouTube at Crispy Cappin, 2 P's, 2 N's. Same thing for X or Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it. Do a show in the morning, like Kyle always mentions, about 7:30, 8 o'clock a.m. We try to get to some of the lines early if we know injury status. So come check me out if you guys are interested.
Cool. All right, the first leg of the community parlay is Knicks money line. It's actually Knicks and Grizzlies. We'll do first and second because there's only 2 polls. So we got Rockets We got. Did they like the Cavs or Nuggets? I think the Nuggets won that poll. It was very close though. Mavericks.
Hey, Kyle, while you're talking, Cam Johnson just got ruled out. And so that team total under that you were talking about, Veno, like this is like just happened last 10 seconds, is probably about to move for Brooklyn. And Mike Brown also just got fired after doing a post-game interview right before the flight to LA because they play the Lakers tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw people talking about that in the comments. I mean, how do you not? They have talent. They look terrible. Someone's got to be under the axe there. All right.
I like Mike Brown. Poor Mike Brown.
I'm waiting for that Kings team to turn it around. I think that there will be a time this season where we can make some money on the Kings. It's just that time is definitely not right now.
Yeah, they're not listening to him.
Perhaps. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. And the last two legs, Clippers and I'm telling you guys, you want to go against Golden State. Clippers and Nuggets. Wait, did I say Nuggets?
You like Golden State on the money line, guy?
No, I'm going to take the points, but
okay.
I'm telling you, this team, like I still have nightmares about it. They're just too good. They're so good. Knicks, Grizzlies, Clippers, Nuggets. What is you got the odds there?
Yeah, plus 496.
Plus 496. So Knicks, Grizzlies, Clippers, Nuggets. That's the community parlay plus 496. Rob, Chris, thanks for joining. You guys enjoy your weekend. Yeah, make sure to get some NFL action down. We got a lot of football tonight, tomorrow, football weekend. So you guys have a good one. Thanks for joining. Remember to bet responsibly, everyone. See you in the morning.